You're listening to Adventures in Project Management with John Goad.
Well, hey there. I wanted to talk to you about comparison today. We all do it. We compare pricing. We compare taste. We compare quality. And almost everything that we do. You know, you go to the store, you make a decision, and you compare. You're entering into a contract. Maybe you'll compare the language against an older version or another version of the contract. If you go to the movies, you're going to make a value decision based upon comparison of, is this worth spending my money on, or do I need butter on the popcorn? Whatever. Our lives are built around comparing things. But where we can get into trouble is when we compare others or other ventures or other people, other businesses against ourselves or against our performance or whatnot. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a whole a while ago that before I was on my own and started my company, I worked for an international firm, construction management firm, and one of the aspects we had engineering as well, an engineering division, and I was assigned at one point in time with heading up this effort to benchmark against some other large companies in our area. This was in the Denver market, and I was pretty excited about it. I thought it'd be a lot of fun because I get to go to talk with project managers and team leads and area managers of some other large companies, and I would get to ask them some very important questions on their systems and their approach and their training and things of that nature, so that my company could actually benchmark against them. Meaning, we would compare how developed our systems and processes and procedures and all of that were in comparison to kind of like peers, but other similar maybe volume or size companies. And so, excuse me, that was really fun. That took about a 6-month effort, and I had full latitude to put together the list of other companies. And but at that point in time, a mid-level project manager / construction manager guy reaching out, through the network without having any connections at some of these other firms, I found it a little difficult to kind of weave my way in to actually get some priority or whatnot. But thankfully, I think AT&T, there was another large contract, maybe Turner Construction. There were several that I think we had 4 that responded out of maybe 12 that I had requested these meetings. And so what I did was I kind of set up a questionnaire basically. And first I did a lot of homework on benchmarking because I didn't know a lot about it at all. And I thought, okay, if we're going to compare our company and our processes and systems against somebody else, I need to know what to look for, and I need to be able to set this, this matrix or whatever I was developing. I needed to set it up in a way that would be efficient for capturing the data, but also would help my superiors, the guys I reported to. It helped me convey the information in a meaningful way. So there was a little bit of homework I had to do, but ultimately when I put the thing together and the questionnaires, I took a couple of junior level engineers with me. So there were, I think, 3 of us when we would sit in the room with these other people, and it was either 2 or 3 other representatives of the firms that we interviewed. And a couple of them went really great. It was really fun. We had a kind of almost a collaborative session, and they answered the questions, and they got through everything in a way that provided a lot of value for me in my effort. And nobody was compensated or anything. This was just kind of a, hey, would you help us out? And then there were 2 firms, and I'm not going to name names, that it was really difficult to. It was almost if they were trying to just be very, not even discreet, but just not forthcoming with some of the processes. And at the time I thought, wow, I've signed a non-disclosure here. We're not going to share anything publicly. This is for our own in-house audit and improvement, essentially. So why are these people kind of holding back? And it didn't strike me until later when I was putting all my data together, and well after we had the interviews. But I thought, maybe we were asking some questions of these firms that they didn't have it all together in some of these areas of some of process and some of their procedures. Maybe they didn't have the consistency, and I don't know. But anyway, the results I think were helpful. If I recall, there wasn't a lot that was implemented after. That's always a difficult part. You put together something, you make a recommendation, and you want to change course a little bit, or you want to have some impact so that you can do something better, or the firm that you work for, you want to help them advance or progress. And if it's just not implemented, it gets to be a little frustrating. But I learned a great deal through that effort. And I'm getting around to my point on comparison. So that was a very beneficial exercise. And professionally, it helped me look at other businesses in a way that I could try to be more objective. However, when I struck out on my own, when I started my venture, my own project management and consulting business, it was very personal. I mean, candidly, it was my wife and I when we first started out. She was my partner. And everything was very personal. When I would look at other people that were doing what I was doing, whether they had, a large office staffed with people, or I would see their signs or banners on other projects, and it quickly got into I remember the first couple of years when I was really trying to get out there and make myself known and meet a lot of people and, over deliver and, all of that stuff. That it really started to bug me, and I really began to kind of almost focus on some of the competition or the others that were playing in my sandbox, so to speak. And I remember that it actually caused me to maybe change some of my planning a little bit, because I kind of had, obviously you just have this competitive nature, and you couple that with wanting to grow a little business, larger, and man, if you start comparing, that can be trouble. And so I think Teddy Roosevelt said, he had a quote, it was comparison is the thief of contentment. Boy, is that true. Because it's like we had a golden retriever when I was a kid, and she used to chase her tail. And that's, to me, kind of a representation of, if you're chasing comparison, you're never going to catch it. If you're chasing it, you'll never be content. You'll never have that tail caught, and it's really easy to get into that mindset, unfortunately. And so I recall that over time, as I gained confidence, I had more clients, and I was becoming more established in the work that I was doing. It became less important to me. Now, I'm not going to say that I don't, to this day, still compare myself or what I do or what I've accomplished or what I haven't accomplished against others. And it's okay as long as I keep it kind of within healthy boundaries or guardrails. And so if I can look at a competitor, so, for an example, if I can look at them through the lens of objectivity, how can I help? How can I improve what I'm doing by what I'm seeing there? Not necessarily a critique on that I'm doing something wrong, but in the spirit of improvement. If I compare in that nature, and it could be in the realm of that benchmark scenario, I guess. If I can stay objective, it can be very beneficial. I'll have a meeting with somebody sometimes, and there'll be another project manager or another consultant or something like that, and I'll just observe their mannerisms or how organized they are or how they conduct themselves with the meeting. how they follow up with information, put reports together, any of that. And I'm always seeking information that will help me do my job better and relate with my clients better and take care of my people better. But I have to still be careful to not let it just turn into straight comparison, as if it's something to chase. So it's just got to stay in check. I mean, even when I was starting this podcast, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I had listened to a podcast at all, maybe, but more than one or two, probably 6 or 8 months ago. And I just kind of did other things. I thought, well, maybe that's kind of old technology or whatnot. I know I'll get hate mail maybe, but and then, the COVID and all that changed how people are using technology, and, myself included. And now, I'm like this junkie. My kids think I'm absolutely crazy because I subscribe to so many, and I'm always listening to them and talking about them and planning and new ideas and, all this stuff. But it's interesting because I just didn't know about this world at all. It wasn't that I was ignorant to it completely. It was just I had never delved into it. I just didn't think I had time for it. Or wasn't of interest. But boy, I've learned so much in a short period of time with a vast array of varying podcasts that I subscribe to and listen to, and it's been phenomenal. But it's given me a lot of ideas on how I can launch my own and how I can do this and be better. It's given me a wealth of ideas in that realm, and so it's been good. But from the benchmarking standpoint, it's been really great. From the personal comparison thing, it's been really weird because, initially I wanted to just talk about project management. Well, one, that's kind of boring sometimes. But also, I think I tend to lean into small business development and launching ideas and helping people see through clutter and things like that. And so it tends to get, a little beyond project management. And so, but anyway, as I was looking through, okay, what other project management podcasts are there? Well, there's only about 12 million out. Well, not that. There's a lot out there. And I quickly became almost kind of like overwhelmed because I'm thinking, oh, this guy does this and this gal does that. And this one, wow, they have guests that are awesome that all, on and on. I started really comparing in the sense that this is too overwhelming. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I can't compete in this realm. And even with the business startup stuff, and there's so many of those, and they're so good. And there's a lot of name brand people, that have these, and they're just great. And I'm thinking, I can't compete there. And same with the entrepreneurial podcasts. I mean, again, just lots of big names out there, and there's wonderful shows and a wealth of information and all of that. And I quickly started to become, over a period of a couple of months, I started to really get derailed with the idea and the concept of this podcast for me, because I've been a writer all my life. I love to write, and I document stuff for work, but I write creatively and recreationally as well. And I've always had more words to say than I've said, and now I just am excited at this opportunity and this the ability with this podcasting to be able to do this. And so, but I was becoming overwhelmed in just all the other stuff that was out there. And I mean, I had lists of, I've got to listen to these so I know what they're doing, and I don't want to be like them. I don't want to copy anything. I don't want to, and it just really started driving me crazy. And fortunately, I had my friend and podcast guru, Jeff Semple from the Good Branch. Got to look him up. That's a shameless plug for sure. But he he started to talk me back out of that a little bit, because then I was getting into not only the comparison of all the things that I could do differently, or making certain that I was like that I could compete, but I couldn't, because I wasn't a celebrity or anything like that, and all this stuff in my head. But then the entrepreneurial ideas started. I gotta expand this and build a platform and in this other area, and t-shirts, and how it just kind of, I just go there a lot sometimes. And he's like, man, time out, John, pull it back. You're in kindergarten right now with this, with this effort. Just get it started. Just start doing the work, get it started, get focused, one step at a time. He's like, all this stuff you're talking about is high school, and don't worry about it. Man, that was awesome advice. That was incredible advice. And it was really funny, because I advise other people on their projects and their businesses and things like that, because I can see, clearly when I'm a third party, when I'm outside, I go, wow, that's, A plus B, that's C, come on, But when you're in it, when you're in the middle of it, and you're comparing yourself against all this other stuff and these other people and these other podcasts or whatever it is you're comparing yourself against, you can pretty quickly get your eyes clouded, as to what the real objective is, or the steps that you need to take in order to advance towards your objective. And it was a great lesson for me, because I thought, man, he just really threw me a lifeline there and just cleared it up just like that. It was fantastic, and I'm really grateful for that. But also, it was inspiring to me that he had that clarity, so that he could just say, whoa, time out, pal, take it one step at a time, and then you could advance. So I'm really good with that. I'm really cool with that. The other piece on the celebrity thing and the comparison and all of that was, and this is encouragement to you out there, okay? Whether you're launching your business, I talk a lot about that, but it could just be, I don't know, launching an idea that you've had. It doesn't have to be a business. Maybe, who knows? But if you're creative, if you've got something that's been on your heart or on your plan table or whatever for a while, that you just got to get it going, just be encouraged by this, okay? Yeah, there's plenty of celebrities out there, and at one point in time, they were just somebody. They weren't celebrities like right out of the chute, okay? I don't aspire to be a celebrity. I aspire to be a guy that can share stories and lessons and just things from my world, my little world that I've learned in 25 years of project management, or 30 years in the construction industry, and just living life, raising kids, living on a little farm, doing all this stuff. It's all connected because it's my life, and I think there's some value to share. And so once I got to be okay with that, I'm not a celebrity, and stop comparing myself against these. I'm never going to have 1 million followers. Well, maybe I will, who knows? But that's not what I'm leaning into. That's not what I'm working to go hit. I'm just trying to get my word out there to help somebody. If I help 2 people this month, I'm happy. You know what I mean? That's my objective. And I'm not saying set the bar low. Okay, that's the first bar, and I'm going to get to high school here soon, and the bar will be higher. But hopefully you hear what I'm saying, and hopefully you take that encouragement that when we compare ourselves to others, it's easy to get derailed from our dream, from our passion, from our gifting, from the thing, our objective, the thing that we're pursuing, and it can happen really, really fast. We can get just knocked off the rails real quick. So don't do that. So how do you not do that? Well, I was telling somebody the other day that I've built houses, built our house that we're in now, and that was, I'm a recovering carpenter. I'm always building something. I love doing that. Love working with my hands still. But if I were to buy a house, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. If I were to go purchase a house, I observe construction too. That's some of what I do. I go out there and the checklist, and you observe progress, make sure people are doing it according to the plans and specs and that kind of a thing. That's what I do. So I certainly know how a house goes together. I know how to find defects. I know how to find quality issues or workmanship that's questionable or whatever. But if I were going to buy my own house, I would emotionally be invested in that if I really wanted it. I would want that house. And so I would need to bring somebody with me that I trusted, as a third party, essentially, one of my buddies in the industry or whatnot, to come with me and walk through the house. And I guarantee you, they will find, I do punch lists, at the end of construction projects. That's what I do. That's a lot of what I do. But they would find items on their list that I wouldn't have on mine. And you know why? It's because I would be emotionally vested in doing the deal and getting it down, because I can already see moving the dog in her bed in the living room. I can see the fire in the fireplace. I can already see how this house is going to suit my family great. But what I don't see are some of the details and some of the things that will either be great or could cost me more money or cost me some time or things like that. So I've got that third party, that trusted friend, those trusted relationships that can speak into not just that deal, but to my life at the time. And it's so important. We have them. We all have people like that. And professionally, that's why as a third party independent project manager or owner's rep, whatever role I'm going to be assigned to on a project or a development or something like that, if I'm consulting, I have that trusted third party. I have that third party role. And so I can help people see things that they don't see. So it's not magic. It's just kind of, I don't have a dog in that hunt. I think I've said that before. I don't have the emotional ties. I don't have the clutter of the day and all of that. So I encourage you in your venture, because I use the analogy, or metaphor of the home, talking about buying the home and all of that. Well, that's one example, but there are also opportunities that we may not see because we're too close to it or too busy or too much in the hunt of what's going on in the day, or distracted or whatnot. And so people that we trust, if we have somebody or some people or others that we have a trust relationship with, that are willing to help us in that area, whether professionally or personally, then it's only going to reap benefits, because they'll say, hey, what about this opportunity? Or, hey, what about, have you considered this? And that can help immensely. And particularly, circling this whole thing back, when we're caught in the trap of comparing ourselves or our businesses or our family or our team to others in a way that's not healthy or doesn't help us improve or it, not in the benchmarking sense, but in the straight up comparison sense, that won't satisfy us, that will cause discontentment, derail us, it'll pull us off track. That's when we really need somebody to, like my buddy Jeff, say, hey, you're just in kindergarten. Don't worry about all that other stuff. Just take it off your plate. That was burdening me. It really was. I literally felt bogged down. And a lot of what I do for a living is help people get unstuck so they can move forward. But yet I found myself stuck. So none of us are immune to it. No matter how self-motivated and great we are or think we are, we can all use a nudge or somebody to help us shovel through the stuff to get to the result or the plan, or to help us see the objective. So I'm going to encourage you to just be aware of that as you're launching, as you're starting something, or maybe renewing something, and you're putting all your effort into that. Just don't discount those around you whom you trust, who can speak into your situation and provide some positive direction for you. So that's what I got for you today. So I was thinking about several items here at the end of this one. I don't want to delay, but I think that there's great opportunity in considering yourself an expert in your field, if you know what you're talking about, okay, you consider yourself as the expert. Don't get hung up on if you're the most knowledgeable expert, if you're the most knowledgeable in your field. We all have expertise, that we've earned through our jobs or education or whatnot. And if you have something to say, or if you have something that you can help others with, I'm encouraging you to step out there and try that. Don't look around. I think I've talked before about, if you're in a crowd and you see somebody waving and you kind of wave at them and then you find out there's a big guy behind you that was actually waving to that person. And so whoever was not waving to you, and you feel kind of embarrassed, and so a lot of times we don't want to stick out. A lot of times we don't want to, upset the apple cart, or we don't want to get out there. It's human nature, I think, sometimes. I tend to have to, I don't know, I like to work through that in a way that that I'm not afraid to. And so with that, I'm going to encourage you to stick out a little bit. If you have an idea or a concept that you really want to launch, if you have something that's just like been burning a hole in your thoughts at night and for years maybe, or months or whatever, and you just think, I'm not ready yet, I can't, I'm not as good as somebody else, or whatnot, man, do it. Go for it. Just try it, because I'll tell you, the worst thing that could happen is you fail and you have to tune it up and launch again. And don't quit. My kids ride horses, and they'll come off. You come off a horse every once in a while, and what do? Everybody knows whether you ride or not. You fall off, you get knocked off, you get bucked off. What do? You get right back up on it. And so, don't get worked up about if you don't think you have something to say, because you do. It's your story, it's your life, it's your experience. Okay. Now I'm not going to go consult with a heart surgeon and tell him my thoughts on cardiovascular system and that French fries are okay, and I'm not an expert in that area. I don't have experience in that area, so I'm not going to just jump in and stick my neck out for something like that. That's ridiculous. That doesn't make sense. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, your experience, your training, your observations. Be confident in that. Okay. Be confident in that and put it out there and see what happens. That's my challenge to you. So I hope you've heard something positive that can help you out, or share it with others who you think could help. Please don't get caught in the trap of comparison. It's okay to benchmark. Don't worry about benchmarking. It can be very beneficial for your organization, for your team, for your business, for your family, who knows. But don't get caught in the trap of comparison, because it will steal your contentment. So that's all I've got to say to you today. I hope that you've found something positive. And until next time, I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.